Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now. I do have some updates to talk to you about, some important updates, also some scary updates that we do need to know about, so you know how what to expect and how to move forward. Um, so come on in and join me so that we can talk. So I do want to start with the good news. Internally in the office, we have gotten another T approval. So I know a few days ago we talked about a miraculous adjustment of status that we got for our client who was here for 25 years, did not realize that he could actually get the green card. We argued why he entered, uh, why he was given parole. He did not have the proof of the parole, but he was able to show it through his testimony. And because of that, he was approved, right? After 25 years of being told there's no way he can be allowed to get adjustment of status. And then today, hi there, Damien. Today we have gotten notification that we have a T approval. So for those of you, I know a lot of people are like, they heard that there's no more T visas, there's no more VAWAs. It is not true. We are still getting receipt notices coming in. We're still getting decisions, approvals. In the past 2 weeks, we've gotten T visa approvals. We've gotten work permit approvals. We've gotten a green card approval. So keep that in mind, guys. Now is the time. The reason our clients are getting this now, I remember having these conversations with my clients, and I told them that they always want to make sure they apply before something happens. My clients who are now winning, who at the time they listened to me, they heeded what I was telling them about potential changes coming, they jumped for it, and now they're okay, right? So it's all about timing. You need to make sure you act on timing. So this is where it's so important to make sure you give us a call, talk to us about your situation. We do initial evaluations, and that can help us to understand whether we offer you an option that we can help you with. So we don't waste your time and money. So it's fair. We're giving you that resource to be able to at least see if it's something that we can do for you. So please make sure you take advantage of that opportunity to see what is there, right? To start with. And then we can talk. Once we find that, yes, there is something we may be able to help you with, we get a lot more into detail to get started. So that's the good news, though. We are continuing to get results for our clients. And that makes me so happy because it means that our clients get to be safe. And speaking of safe, I am trying to keep up with as many as much of the news, because everything we're getting whiplash at this point with how many changes and executive orders are being thrown out there. And of course, many of them have been blocked or challenged. And, so on Trump's side, he is also feeling the pressure because he's pushing the executive orders out there, but there is some opposition. So the next one in regards to immigration is, I believe, in the coming days or weeks. So there hasn't been a particular day that has been announced, but we will be hearing about him using what's called the Alien Enemies Act from 1798. This law is still active, but we're not in war. We're not in an active war, and so it has not been used. But what he's going to do is he is going to then apply the Aliens Enemies Act to try to bypass due process and to deport people faster. So this is what the Alien Enemies Act does. It allows the government, it's sort of like martial law, but martial law only against the citizens of hostile countries that are in the United States. So what would happen is, if the way it's supposed to work is this law, once it's invoked, it allows the president to then target citizens of a hostile country that the US is in war with. So a country or a government, that hostile government, if there are any citizens of those countries in the United States, they can go and rally them up and detain them without due process. And in this case, what he is going to use that law to do is to justify locking people up and deporting them without due process by invoking that law. So I do expect there to definitely be a fervent challenge against this, because there is no war right now and there's no hostile government or hostile country that would justify invoking this law. However, what he's doing is he's putting a twist on it, and he's saying that the country is being invaded by hostile, in his words, aliens. And so this law needs to be applied emergently to be able to take care of this problem very quickly. If Now it really comes down to breaking down this law, the language of the law. Probably the courts will have to do that, right? So it's called statutory interpretation, where they look at the statute and then they break down whether what he's doing can actually be applied, or can the law be applied to what he wants to do, right? He can make a national security argument to the court, and the court would have to see if this statute can be used to justify his need for to invoke this law. We'll have to see. We have seen this would go up to the Supreme Court, and we have seen the Supreme Court make some very shocking decisions lately, or maybe not so shocking, but decisions that were really uh, foundational to our own rights have been now reversed. And so it means that it's not impossible for the Supreme Court to side with the president on invoking this law. So we have to see, but it's something that you should be on the lookout for. I really do not want, to stress you out. I know I have to be balancing giving you this information that empowers you to let you understand what's to come. But at the same time, here's what I say. What I have been doing and is working, because I am an attorney, that's my job. The only thing I can do is focus on the solutions here, right? Um, I can empower myself by knowing what to expect and then be able to tackle it using solutions. So let's focus on solutions here, right? And I've just talked about to this, just in the introduction of this live, I talked about two. We talked about the hi there, Karen. We talked about the TVs are being approved. And if you qualify for the same thing, you could be approved and you could get protection. I also talked about the adjustment of status, the impossible adjustment of status case that we have won. And you may think your case is impossible, right? You may think your situation is impossible. You may have been told, no, 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 can't be done. Uh, see if you can get a second opinion. You give us a call and start with that initial evaluation to see if there's any possibility. Because what we do here at the firm is we look at things that we know, just as a matter of practice, other attorneys have not done. Other attorneys, usually they don't really ask very the detailed questions that we do to figure out if there are humanitarian options and relief that are available. And oftentimes, because if you've been here without your papers for such a long time, you've been through a lot. You've probably been through abuse, mistreatment, exploitation, and because of that, you have been silent. You have thought maybe that would not matter because you don't have rights. You do have rights, and there are forms of relief, and we are getting it for our clients. And I just got one today. We just got that approval today. And 2 days ago, we got a miracle approval. So please make sure you don't count yourself out, because I'm here. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to tell you that this is happening, but then on the other end, there are solutions. So start thinking about those solutions. And it's all about timing, because my clients that are winning now, they're winning now because in the moment when I describe to them this exact scenario, uh, the fact that laws can change, policies can change, they acted on it. And because of that, it's paying off now. They invested then and it's paying off now, right? So that's what I want you to start thinking about, and start by let's explore your options, right? All right, so that's what I have today. But what I want to do is just, I want to answer your questions. So I'm going to just scroll through. I'm going to start with TikTok and I'm going to work my way over. So TikTok, then I'm going to come to YouTube and then Instagram. So please hang tight. I'm going to be looking in one direction, answering questions, but I'll definitely come to each platform. Please, it's confusing it in number for something else. Please explain. So I think, are you referring to the ITIN number? So the ITIN number is a type of tax identification number that allows immigrants, no matter your immigration status, to pay taxes. So our firm does help. I am an certified acceptance agent. So I do help immigrants to be able to get their ITIN number so they can comply with the tax laws. And the benefits of the ITIN, it goes beyond just filing your taxes. Banks can accept it, credit card companies accept it. So it's a type of number that, one, makes sure it helps you to comply with the law and the tax law. And it's good to comply with the tax law because immigration judges, when they see that, it can actually help you if you ever have to go before a judge, or if you have to show your presence here in the US. Tax filings can do that as well. So that's one benefit, but it also helps you to be able to carry on with your day-to-day business. If you need it for, sometimes it makes it easier to get a bank account. Sometimes some banks don't want to give you a bank account without the ITIN. Helps you to get certain online financial accounts, credit cards. So it helps you to be able to report any income that you've earned as a freelance worker. So and other employers who, if there are other employers who need to report your income, they can use the ITIN number as well, right? And so sometimes employers like to get the ITIN so that they can also help you to comply with the tax laws. So that is the purpose of the ITIN. Keep in mind all the benefits, and there are some immigration benefits in that, not direct benefits, but indirect. For example, if you have to show good moral character, then that's one way to show it that you comply with tax law. If you have to show continuous presence in the US, then that's one way to show it, that you've been paying your taxes every year or filing your taxes every year. To show that you're law abiding, that you're honest. Once again, filing taxes helps. So keep that in mind. All right. I had it, so let's see. How long does it take to get a work permit? It depends on the type of work permit. If it's family based, 3 to 6 months. If it's VAWA, I would say 6 to 12 months. If it's T visa, it's usually, if they're going to issue it while you're applying, I would say 3 to 6 months. If you are applying, if you are waiting, if they're not going to make a decision, or they make a final decision before they issue what's called a bona fide determination letter, then you're looking at 12 to 18 months. Asylum is 6 months. So it depends on what kind of application you're filing. Is it safe to travel international as a citizen? Yes. Just make sure you have proof of citizenship. Make sure you're traveling with your passport. Um, Thanks so much for the gifts. I appreciate that. Um, Okay, so does the ITIN protect you in the country? No, not directly. But what the ITIN does not give you legal status. But what the ITIN does, it helps you to comply with the tax laws. And keep in mind that if you ever have to go before an immigration judge, it can actually help to prove your good moral character, where the good moral character is a requirement, and sometimes that leads to the judge giving a favorable decision. So it's never wrong to comply with the tax law. It can actually benefit you in the future. Another thing to keep in mind, I know right now we are not the most optimistic. We need to be, though. We need to put our minds in a positive place despite what is happening. But here's the other thing I always tell people, because I look ahead. And once again, because I looked ahead, my clients are winning now, because what I told them in the appointments is what is happening. One of the worst case scenarios is happening. But because they had that foresight through my legal advice, they took action. And now they're okay, right? So what I'm saying here is I usually look ahead, and I am saying this in regards to filing taxes. Right now, I know we look like we're far from it, but if there is ever any positive immigration reform, if we ever get to the point where they are going to say, let's figure out a solution to help hardworking, undocumented immigrants and dreamers to get their papers here instead of targeting them, then one thing that has come up time and time and time again in every single proposal to reform immigration to help lead to a pathway for undocumented immigrants is they have to pay their taxes. They have to show that they've paid their taxes, right? So that means, so let's look at a different timeline, right? Say Kamala did win. And keep in mind, who knows, we might go down a path, a shift where under Trump we see positive immigration reform. You never know. We have to put our minds, I say always look at and imagine the best scenarios despite what we're going through now. But say we were in a situation where Congress today said, all right, we're gonna listen, the country's losing because we've deported so many undocumented immigrants. Now we have a big gap in the labor force. So let's stop, pause now, and let's look at some solutions, because obviously now, although they are supposed to know this fact, but obviously now we have some good people that we need to stay in this country, right? Just say that happens. So they go ahead and they pass this immigration reform. And part of that, one of the requirements is you have to show that you have paid your taxes for 5 years. Guess what? Those people who had applied for their ITINs 5 years ago, right? Because they had the foresight to know that this could possibly benefit them in the future, complying with the tax laws could benefit them in the future. Those people that took those actions would be ready and set to apply right now and get whatever benefits are being offered under that immigration reform, right? Because they were looking ahead. So this is where I'm saying, yes, right now there's no immediate relief that tax paying your taxes is offering. But eventually, doing the right thing by paying those taxes and complying with the tax laws means that may open up yourself for a solution in the future. So just keep that in mind, right? Every single tax bill, I mean, not tax bill, every single immigration reform bill that went forward in the past few years, over the past 5 years, has said you have to show you have paid your taxes over a number of years. Okay, so those who never pay their taxes, they are behind. Those who pay their taxes, they're definitely ahead of the game at that point. All right. Can a felon petition for a spouse? Yes, but there may be if the petitioner who has a felony, if they fall under the Adam Walsh Act, that says that if the felony or the crime involved a minor, then at that point they are barred from petitioning for them. But if it's not relating to a minor, a crime involving a minor, then it should be fine. But no, keep in mind, always get legal advice. Go ahead and get legal advice, because anything to do with criminal, you always get legal advice. But I have seen this situation before with someone with a felony petitioning for their spouse, and it's fine. After getting your motion to appeal approved, how long after do you get your green card? So if the appeal was, it depends on what kind of appeal. So if it was an appeal of a petition and you had an I-485 attached to it, then right away you could get your approval. If say it was a marriage-based I-130 and you had to appeal the I-130, and now they have sent it back and said it needs to be, the denial needs to be reversed, then in that case, that I-485 would be reinstated and then approved. So you'd get it right away. So it depends on what the benefit is. How do I get a work permit? So, in order to get the work permit, you have to qualify to apply for a certain type of application, and that's what we do. Is we have to look at a number of options to see if one of those options you do qualify for them. So this is where the initial evaluation is very important, because that allows us to see the possibilities. The work permit is not a document that you can just print the form for and say, I am going to apply for a work permit. You will not be able to get approved for that. You have to show that you are applying for a benefit or a form of relief that allows you to have a work permit at the same time that you're applying for it. So if you're outside of the United States, then you need to look for a work visa. And to get a work visa, usually you need an employer to petition for you. So if you're just keep that in mind. If you're here in the United States, and you're saying, "Boy, I need a work permit," then the question is, what have you been through? What's your relationship with your family? Do you have family members to petition for you? Do you possibly have an employer who can petition for you? um, we'd have to look at those options to see if you qualify to then apply for adjustment of status to get your green card or a T visa or a U visa, just depending on what you qualify for, that can get you to the work permit. After getting, so I answered that. After my case is ready in NVC, how long till the interview? Exactly. So I'm glad you asked that because it gives me an opportunity to also tell other people what's happening. So at the embassies, I am seeing longer wait times for the interviews, and some people don't understand why is it taking so long. It's taking, I would say, a year and a half right now in most countries, to a year to 1 year and a half to 2 years to get to the interview. So it's frustratingly long right now. So it depends on the country you're in. I know for sure in Jamaica, it's 1.5 to 2 years wait just to get to the interview. We filed our I-130, will filing I-129 speed up approval for my spouse who is in Nigeria. So, so usually what happens here is they'll file the I-130, and then you can file the I-129 form to say it was designed to speed up the process. But what I have found, the common practice is it doesn't actually speed it up. And what has ended up happening in many of my cases is the I-130 gets approved first, then it goes to the embassy, and they cancel the I-129 because the I-130 gets approved, and then the green card gets approved before they even get to the I-129. However, what I would say, what my strategy has always been is still apply for the I-129, just in case we start to see the intended purpose of the I-129 coming back, meaning the intended purpose was to issue a visa for the spouse to come to the United States and be able to adjust status in the United States, right? And it was supposed to be like a maybe 4 month process. I remember the days when it was that short. But in this case, it's not happening like that anymore. I am finding the I-130 process goes through before the I-129 is even touched, and the I-129. But there's no fee for the I-129 as a spouse of a U.S. citizen, and so it doesn't hurt though to still do it just in case it might get approved. What happens if my prima facie expire before my VAWA approval? They'll issue another one. Sibling I-130, 10 years on, what's the next best step? So keep in mind, if you're still waiting, so you still have to wait until you get, so once the I-130 is in process, what I-130 gets approved, then you wait for your priority date to become current. It's sort of like a wait list. So you'll have to wait for that to come current on the wait list. And then at that point, they'll go ahead and process you for an immigrant visa if you're outside of the United States. If you're in the United States, it's important for you to know that you should not overstay your time, because if you've overstayed your time, or you are thinking you can overstay your time, or you're thinking you can apply for adjustment of status, you'll have a rude awakening. So you will not be allowed to adjust status here based on the current laws. So this is where I say, if you're here in the US already, you don't have your status, or you're thinking, how can I stay here while my process is going forward? It's time to get legal advice, because you may not be able to, just depending on what your situation is. Thanks so much for the gifts. I appreciate it. Okay, so can my case change although the judge denied my green card, but she gave me a work authorization? So this is not enough information to understand what happened. Your green card was denied, but the judge gave you a work permit, but the work permit doesn't necessarily give you official status either. And it can't change by itself. Something new would have to happen for the judge to grant you your paper. So I have to know more to be able to talk about what happened there. We filed our I-130. We'll be filing I-129. So yes, talked about that already. Um, all right. So now I'm on YouTube. What if your coworker tells to your other coworker, call ICE on you? That's considered threatening. So I would say this: did you feel threatened? This is where you need to call us. It's not about what I think is threatening. How did it make you feel? if if I can only imagine whenever I'm working with clients in this situation, they do feel threatened, right? It is definitely a threat. If you take it as a threat, it's a threat. So if that happened and it caused you to feel this way and you started to feel alarmed, it's time to give us a call and talk to us more about what you endured, so then we can see what you qualify for. Because another thing would be, okay, the coworker said call ICE. For what reason? Did they do it to make you, if you are complaining, to make you stop complaining, or to make you feel afraid so you just go back to work and not ask any questions? That is where you definitely have a good basis for the T visa. So I would say this: if you felt mistreated, you felt threatened, then it's time to give us a call. It's not necessarily about what I believe is threatening. I'm in debt settlement program. Can that affect my citizenship? No, no. Credit issues and stuff don't look at that. They look at your taxes. So if your taxes, you have some overdue taxes, that can affect you. So that's where you need to be very careful. But regular debt settlement program, no. I received an I-360 expedite email to send evidence the same day on my account. It showed expedite was denied. I have not sent any documents. If you didn't send the documents, they may have denied it because they didn't get the evidence. So, it just depends on the reason. If you told them the reason and they argued that based on the facts you've given them, they would not approve it. That's one thing. But if they denied it because they didn't get the documents, then you can resubmit again, another expedite request. Is there any risk to travel with an approved Form I-131 application for travel documents? I have no criminal history anywhere. It was given through VAWA. There's always a risk, so keep that one in mind. Um, you are always going to face a risk of being denied entry when you're coming back. So you just have to understand that the travel document is there for you to travel. Right now, though, I am being very conservative. Just I am saying here, I'm not telling you in particular not to travel, but in general, I am erring on the side of not traveling, just to be able to evaluate the level of risk that you'd be facing, um, and just to understand how is this thing playing out before taking the chance, right? You observe first to see how it's going. So I would say right now it's not really a great time to travel, but if this is an emergency, you need to be with your family, this is definitely just not even a question for you, then you need to be aware that the risk is never zero with that. No case in my A number. What does it mean? Impact will it be with the current deportation situation? So I'm not sure where the no case was found. If you are looking for a case at the EOIR, and you did not see the case, it means that they may not have it on the docket. And, but you can always give us a call and schedule a time to talk so we can go over your facts. RFE for 601 and 485 is a good sign. I wouldn't say an RFE is a good thing. When we see RFEs, it means that, okay, there are more questions, and sometimes it's simple, sometimes it is complex, sometimes it's hinting that there are issues in the case that serious issues you need to address that may take a lot of effort, and so you never know what you're going to get in an RFE. But what I would say is a good sign is that you get that RFE and you're able to overcome all the arguments in the RFE or provide all the information they need. Then that's a good sign. How long did the T visa take? So they're taking a little over a year now. So before I was, and processing times are getting longer, because before it was 9 months, then it was 12 months. Now I'm seeing it's about 14 months. So that's how long this one took too. Hi, Sharifa. My husband overstayed, but his sister petitioned him and already received his approval notice. Is my husband at risk of deportation? Yes. Wait, so his sister, yes, yes. He's still at risk. She petitioned for him. It was approved, but is his priority date current? That's the most important thing. But here's the other painful part about this. If he overstayed, then it means he can't do adjustment of status, because they don't allow you to do adjustment of status under family base if you overstay. So you need to get those, make sure he gets legal advice to ensure he's going about this the right way. Blessings evening to you all. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And blessings to you too. Hello, is EAD still valid for 5 years? So we're still seeing it. They haven't announced any changes yet. I use a US citizen. I get ID in 1997 to work and maybe did the I-9. Will this affect a VAWA case and adjustment of status? So now they did pass the law to make it extremely unforgiving to claim false citizenship or to use a citizen's identification to claim citizenship for yourself for your benefit. However, and if that happened before the law was implemented, which I don't have my phone, I could look it up, but I am on the live. If we can look at the date, we look at the date that you did the false claim to US citizenship, then we look at the date that the law went into force. If it was before that date, then it will not render you forever inadmissible, but you will need to probably file an I-601 depending on your case type in an adjustment of status. The I-601 can get it forgiven for you. However, if after the law was passed and you then uses the citizen's ID to claim citizenship for yourself, I guess for work purposes, then at that point, yes, it would apply, and it is extreme. You will not be able to get it forgiven. But T visa, under the T visa, you can apply for a waiver to have it forgiven. But if they found willful false claim to U.S. citizenship, they will, under VAWA, it's not forgivable. So it would have to be a situation where we then evaluate: do you qualify under T visa based on maybe what? Because obviously some abuse went on here, so we'd have to figure out what that was, and we have to look at the date of the law, and if everything lines up, that's going to say all you need is probably a waiver. But if not, then yeah, you have to look at a whole other option, because you're going to be denied based on a permanent bar. And yes, yep. Uh, so the I-9 never, ever, ever, ever. It's one of the worst things, is to claim being a citizen on any document. Don't do it for job applications. Don't do it for the I-9 process that happens at a job. Don't tell an officer you're a citizen. Don't don't let those words come out of your mouth to any third parties that, yes, I'm a US citizen. Don't register to vote. Don't do anything like that, because that's the worst thing you can do. It means that they will find false claim to US citizenship, and you'll be forever barred from getting a green card. Hello, Faith. What is the wait time for TV? Also answered that. Thank you so much, Damien. I appreciate that. If someone is here waiting for green card and they say you have one more paper to sign, should they show up? I'm not sure of the situation. This is where you definitely, sounds like you do have some concerns. So get in touch with us so we can talk to you about it. Because sounds like there's something worrying you. But I've never heard of a situation like this. I don't know what this is referring to. All right, Instagram. I'm here, so go ahead, put your questions in the comments. Can a non-immigrant apply for an ITIN? Yes, absolutely. All immigrants can apply. The way that they look at it is, under the IRS, they look at it as, are you residing in the US for enough time that you can pay taxes, regardless of your immigration status. I mean, yes, if you're a citizen, then you can't get the I-10. If you're a permanent resident, you can't get the I-10. But when they're looking at you, they're not looking at your immigration status in a way like how the immigration USCIS looks at it. They, for tax purposes, they just want to know how many days have you been living in the US. Can a non-immigrant apply for an I-10 to answer that? Can overdue taxes cause deportation? If it escalates into criminal charges, yes, it can be. My I-130 and I-485 said cancellation of further evidence. Can you tell me what it means? So I don't know. Did they send you a letter, or, because I don't know what that means just by the information you've given me here. Um, my dad, a US citizen, petitioned for me while I was married. What happens to my application if I get divorced? You would be upgraded to what's called the F2B category, and it's shorter. So it goes from a 12-year process to a 5 to 7 year process. Put your questions. Now is a chat. It's a time to put those questions in. Good night. I have something I want to ask. You don't even have to tell me that. You just put your question in. I'm across the border. I got an A number, but I wasn't paroled in. I'm married to a citizen. What can I do? If you were not paroled in, adjustment of status isn't going to work here. What you would have to then explore other options. So this is where I say, and were you given, by the way, were you given a court date? If you weren't paroled, did they give you a court date? If so, you need to make sure, do not skip that. Figure out your rights and options going forward. How long for I-130 consular processing, married to a US citizen? I would say 1.5 to 2.5 years. I want to file, but I hear I can't because I wasn't paroled in. So yes, but don't count yourself out. This is why I say give us a call and then we can talk to you about the details to understand what the situation was. How long does it take to get an ITIN if you are an immigrant? So right now during the busy season, we're looking at about 9 to 12 weeks. So when you file your tax with a tax ID, you will get back tax return. So what happens is upon the first, when on the application, so when we file the first application, in most cases, we have to file the tax with it. So our client is actually filing their first tax return along with the application to get the ITIN. So when it goes into them, to the IRS, they process it and then send back the ITIN that, and now they have on record that they've filed their taxes, and every year they'll use the ITIN to file those taxes until it expires. And then you just renew it. My boyfriend and I plan to get married in court soon, but we don't live or have anything together. Can he still file for me? What can we do? Get in touch with us. This is what we do. And I would say this, you as a married couple, any married couple, you're gonna have to, you live together, and maybe you don't live together for a reason, but you have to explain it. And married couples have to come, not have to, but they have a way of working around their finances and building a life together. That's the important thing. So you need to be able to show that on paper. So give us a call. Let's hear you out and be able to help get you organized and get that application in ASAP. What is the processing time for adjustment of status for parents inside the US? So it was 10 to 12 months. Hopefully it stays that way. Um, so the interview still waived for parents? So they are putting interviews in basically for a ton of benefits. We have to see, they haven't really said explicitly whether parents are waived, but I do know the interviews are coming back, especially for marriage based. Um, can I be married in my home country and also get married in the state to a different spouse? No. That they will definitely deny your application on first sight of seeing that. You have to get divorced in your country and then show the divorce and get married here in the US after your divorce. And they're definitely going to ask for that divorce decree during the process. Can you do an easier application other than marriage based, even if you're married to a US citizen? Off the offhand, no. Really and truly, I would say none of these processes are easy in the United States, right? There's no like quick and easy immigration process, unfortunately. I called the office. I'm looking forward to speaking with you. That's great. And this staff will definitely help you get scheduled. Is that true that marriage is the only way? No, it's not true, but we have to talk to you to figure out what other options may fit. What happened? Overstay your visa, 7 year. I need help. Give us a call. We talk to you, we figure out your circumstances, and then we can help you to apply should you qualify. But you need to make that move to get in touch. That's where you're going to get the benefit of knowing and taking action. I'm located in Delray Beach, Florida, also Boca Raton. They're neighboring towns, but I do represent clients in all 50 states and the globe. So no matter where you are, I can help you. All right, that's it for me. Thanks so much, guys, for spending at least a sliver of your Friday night with me. I appreciate your time. I will be back on Monday. And what you can do is like, subscribe, follow, because by doing that, you're able to um, keep up with me. And when I'm online and you see me, you can get notification and hop on. And then also sharing the videos can help others to find this information and be able to understand and empower themselves through the process. Thanks so much for the follows. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. I'll be back on Monday and then we can talk again. Have a good night. Bye bye.